Yes, everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Stephen Howson, and this is 5 things that we learned watching Manchester United stink the place out against Southampton this weekend. In at number 1 then, midfield maestro is missing. Fred is simply not good enough to feature every single game. I don't think he is a terrible asset in certain matches, especially with the work rate that he's got is sensational. But when you're looking to progress the ball and when you're being pressed, more importantly, which is becoming an increasingly popular method of winning the ball back in the game, especially so high up the pitch, Fred struggles. In fact, the whole defensive structure struggled with the playing out. Hasenhüttl's method of pressing is absolutely brutal. And a little bit like Bielsa, it's also prone to you getting an absolute slapping every now and then because they are rigidly stuck to those sorts of philosophies. Now, when you need a player that's going to dictate possession and the tempo of a game and provide some sort of playmaking ability from that quarterback sort of role, it ain't Fred. And I'm not just digging Fred out, because it ain't Matic either. And guess what? It's not McTominay. And as good as Jimmy Garner has been at Nottingham Forest, it might not be Jimmy Garner either. Matic slows the game down far too much. He wants too many touches, and he's too slow moving across the pitch. McTominay lacks the quality. I think he, again, another very hard-working player. He's got excellent defensive properties. On the ball is his weakest attribute. It's like a number 6 version or number 8 version of Wan-Bissaka. We've addressed the massively glaring, gaping holes in the squad with Varane and Sancho. And now the focus falls upon that number 6, who is that world-class, even international level superstar. That it don't even need to be a superstar, it just needs to be a quality player that comes in and starts to dictate the tempo of a game. Michael Carrick being sitting on the bench is looking for the 23-year-old version of himself. It needs fixing. And I don't have the confidence that it's going to get fixed before the end of this month. Number 2, defensive side kryptonite. So we lacked creativity for the majority of the game. We had 15 shots, but we didn't really have too many that we threatened with. A couple of Bruno's header from close range on target, quite a high XG sort of goal, but there wasn't a peppering of the goal. We didn't have that many on target in the grand scheme of things. There's quite a few blazed over and wide. Southampton defended really well. They defended their last line quite well. They blocked up the passing lanes. They forced us wide. And they also stopped us playing out. It was a really good performance from a very hard-working Southampton side. And I think, as we'd identified in the preview, someone like Adam Armstrong is a real threat, and he probably could have won the game for Southampton yesterday. We carved Leeds open because they suited us a little bit more, and I also think that the outlets that we had with Dan James taking people the opposite way gave us that little bit more space. When you have Paul Pogba on one wing and Mason Greenwood on the other wing, and all they want to do is invert, and Anthony Martial, who we'll talk about him in a second, isn't providing any sort of running, no doggies, no runs in behind, no confusion allayed with the defence. Marking those 3 players, as technically gifted and skillful as all 3 of them are, marking those players is way more straightforward. Yes, when they get on the ball, all 3 are capable of going past you individually, but you never have to worry about where they are. You never have to worry about have they got the wrong side of it, because all of them want the ball to feet. All of them are coming short to collect. None of them are making runs in behind. And Dan James, for all of his weaknesses and shortcomings as a technical footballer, the one thing you get with Dan James is he's going to stretch a defence. Mason, he's coming short and he's coming narrow. Paul Pogba, well, he's a midfielder. He's not running in beyond. He's coming short and he's coming narrow. And Anthony Martial is he's not doing a hell of a lot at the moment. As a defensive unit, these guys sitting right in front of you are very, very easy to mark. You almost let him have the ball there. This isn't a problem. I'm maybe going to stop him and not him turn. I'm maybe going to block off the run for him coming in behind. There wasn't a lot of room. There wasn't a lot of running in behind, and there was no one stretching. I'm understanding a little bit, and we'll talk about this again a little bit later on. If Sancho's not match fit, okay. But where was Dan James? A pretty good performance last weekend. What was the need to change it? If you want to give Tony Martial if you're looking for ammunition against him to say you ain't good enough here and you need to move on, well, he give you that at weekend. I think you've got to be picking points up there. When we look back at last season, you see the amount of games that we drew and where can we improve that, turn them into wins to turn this nearly side into a title challenger. Yesterday was 2 points dropped. Those are the games that you have to turn into victories, and we didn't. Number 3, Martial's misery. He looked leggy. He looked heavy. He was not an outlet for us. He looks a shell of himself. He looks lost. United's best spell in the game came when he went off. He doesn't seem a part of the team. Does he fit into the team? Is he fit within the team? I saw a comment yesterday saying Sancho hasn't looked great and you're not digging in for the same level as Tony Martial. No, I'm not. But the reason for that is because Tony Martial looks exactly the same as he looked last season for Manchester United. He's also been part of the pre-season camp that went to Scotland. I would assume Tony Martial is fit. I haven't heard otherwise. Jadon Sancho only joined 2 weeks ago. I am expecting him to require a touch more fitness. I've also seen the recent form of Jadon Sancho where he's been absolutely electric. Jadon Sancho does not look like the player we've seen a couple of last few months in a United shirt at the moment. So there's an adjustment period, there's probably a fitness period, and he's only been given cameos at the end of games currently. Anthony Martial looked like this last season. Who do you think deserves the more time in this situation? Tony Martial had an opportunity here. Much in the same way that Elanga, if he hadn't got injured, might have also had an opportunity as well. If he'd have taken what's on offer, much like I mentioned this in the review yesterday, Luke Shaw was finished under Jose Mourinho, and for a large part of Ollie's reign, he was irrelevant as a footballer. United even signed Telles to replace the guy because that's how little he was doing. Now, Luke Shaw, to his absolute credit, took the challenge of a new player coming in for his position very, very well. He worked hard, he got himself fit, he got himself in the gym. He changed aspects of his game within the course of the season, last season. And it took a few months for him to get there. But by the end of the season, there was no doubt whatsoever Luke Shaw was Manchester United's number 1 left back. And it was earned. Anthony Martial has seen how many players come in, constant links with other strikers and even the manager's pretty much saying, I need a striker. So he's had the challenges put in front of him. He's had Cavani turn up in training, show him up, and he's seemingly done nothing in response, no reaction. This is a striker that now should be at his peak. He's at a great age, 25, about to be 26 in December, I think. This is a guy that should be dominating games. This is literally him entering into the unplayable ages for a striker. He should have experience under his belt now. He should have hundreds of goals or be on the way to hundreds of goals. I mean, how old's Lukaku? I think Lukaku's a touch older, and he's been playing a touch younger as well, I think. Let me just have a look how old Lukaku is. So Lukaku's 2 years older than him. When you look at the amount of goals Romelu Lukaku has scored in his career, 64 goals for the national team added to 252 goals, so over 300 goals for Romelu Lukaku. in 500 games. Really good return rate there from Lukaku. These are supposedly the peers of Anthony Martial. He's 2 years older than him, but clearly someone to emulate. So 500 games, over 300 goals. For France, he has 1 goal compared to the 64 Lukaku has. And yes, it's difficult to get into that side, but in 349 games, so only 150 games less, he only has 100 goals, a full 200 goals less. He is not going to get there. And even when he scored 23 in the 1920 season, it wasn't impressive. It was poor performances that somehow led to goals. He's at a real crossroads of his career at the moment, and I don't see him recovering. I don't think it's in him to recover from this. Number 4, Ole neglects the new boys. So we saw Ole move Greenwood to the right wing, which he seems to sort of say, yeah, Sancho will be taking the right wing now. Would expect Greenwood to be down the middle more. Changes that entirely. We've already spoke about the nature of Greenwood on a right wing. You don't get the same runs, you don't get the same outlet that you would get from Dan James or even from Sancho, although Sancho was quiet when he came on. Should Sancho have started? You got to go with the manager's experience of what they've been like in training on this one, I think. Should Varane have started? He didn't even come off the bench. I thought Maguire had one of the shakiest games Maguire's had in a while. I thought he really struggled. I thought the entire defensive unit struggled playing out from the back, actually. How long is Varane going to be until he gets fit? I can't imagine he's someone that gets like super out of shape in between seasons. Was Matic the right decision? Maybe McTominay would have been better suited because he does have a bit of a tempo in him. Is he being loyal to players rather than judging what he's got? And this isn't even at all coming into what's going on with Donny van de Beek. Because what is going on with Donny van de Beek? Have we still got the receipt? Do you reckon we can send him back and get our money back? Because we are not utilising this lad in the slightest. I've tried to find out, does he train bad? Is he a fucking low-key piss can? What is going on with him? What's the reasons? And it just seems like Gaffer's not having him. Record breakers, number 5. This is why Arsenal's season where they drew loads of games is not impressive. They won 1 trophy that season. They've never stopped fucking going on about it. In fact, they've done fuck all since. United have matched Arsenal's invincible record for the most consecutive games without a defeat away from home in the league. That should, are we literally comparing this United team as equal to a record set by so-called greatest Premier League team ever if you listen to Arsenal fans? I mean, I don't think it's in the top 5, if you want my opinion. But this United side's mediocre, isn't it? Does it deserve to be breaking records of something absolutely lauded by everyone, really? Are we seeing a flipping of the poor home records across the board? Everybody's home record fell last year. United were the only team that managed to maintain a very good away record, but a lot of teams had very good away records. Are we seeing the home fans return, and certainly for the first few games back at home, are we seeing an increase or an exaggeration of that home form with the home fans being back in the mixer? United still had the personnel to go on and win that game yesterday, and I actually think we did try to win that game. Taking off Matic for Lingard was a positive sub. I think maybe we would have preferred a more positive substitution. Maybe Cavani could have come on. But we now sit one more win or non-defeat away from beating and setting our own new record for consecutive games without defeat away from home in the league. Quite a specific stat when you think of it like that, isn't it? Ultimately, we've won nothing. And actually, to the credit of that Arsenal side, they did actually win the league. Weird record to break, or equal, I guess. Be nice to go and set it. But United just need to push on and start winning some games. The personnel is there. Yes, there's an issue in the number 6 area. I don't think it gets addressed this summer, sadly. I would like to see United actually look like we can compete. Because I'll tell you what, Chelsea looked scary yesterday. Manchester City dispatched Norwich the other day with the ease that you would expect they're going to. The best United might be able to do with this squad this season might be third. Unless you get a number 6. And we might be able to win the thing. But not without it. Cheers, tuned in. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.